This is the RV Game Changer. In this podcast, we will speak with manufacturing leaders, component suppliers, dealers, subsector innovators, influencers, and industry experts who all believe RVing is good for our environment. It's good for our economy. It's great for our family values and overall well-being. With your help, we can improve the RV experience for everyone.
Ready to buy or sell your RV? Visit RV Wheelaker. If you're selling your RV, we offer a retail-to-retail experience and will guarantee you a buyer at your agreed-upon price. Who else can say that? Only RV Wheelaker. Buying a pre-owned RV? Experience transparent pricing and top-notch customer service at RVWheelaker.com, where you'll buy your new-to-you RV directly from the owner. RV Wheelaker, where your adventure begins.
Ex-gens and baby boomers, pay attention. Tony Provost is a licensed expert with incredible insight on how to best plan for your retirement. Many of us dream of having RV adventures later in life, but we waited a bit too long to plan for this dream. What if there was a way to accelerate our plans by using little-known money management techniques which grow your savings and remove the often devastating downside of the market? This is where Tony Provost comes in. Tony has the knowledge and a lifetime of experience on how to use his unique no-risk strategies, which removes all the guesswork and downside from what we get from traditional methods of investing. Reach out to Tony and find out what the richest people in the world are doing with their money. You can do it too. Today's episode of RV Game Changer is brought to you by RVing Today TV. If it has anything to do with RVing and camping, you can bet you'll see it on RVing Today TV. Celebrating its 14th year, RVing Today TV is the #1 weekly RV and camping lifestyle show in the country. Available on major television stations and sports networks nationwide, as well as various streaming media platforms. Visit RVingToday.tv, where you'll find the list of stations and networks carrying the show, along with additional stories, news, and contests. Folks, this is a wonderful episode for families who are considering living in an RV full-time with their children. While researching the full-time RV lifestyle, Vanessa and Scott Russell struggled to find transparent resources. They wanted to know both the benefits and the challenges of full-time RVing, to know if it was a good fit for their family. So they created this website, the AdventureDetour.com, as a transparent travel and RV living resource that they wish they had when they were just getting started. After living full-time in their RV across 42 states for 8 years, they wanted to share what they had learned to inspire others to live their dream of traveling full-time in an RV. Vanessa and Scott have promised to share amazing travel destinations, the details of daily living in an RV, and the challenges of living on the road, so to support other families in their journeys. Ladies and gentlemen, Vanessa Russell, thanks and welcome to RV Game Changer.
Hi, Bernie. Thanks so much for having me today.
Oh, this is great. So exciting. I always like speaking with folks who spend a lot of time in their RVs. And so what happened in your life which brought you to this huge change of living a traditional home life to living full-time in a grand design solitude?
Oh, man, I would have never, ever in a million years imagined that we would live in an RV. We never were campers. That's the funniest thing. Like, you think full-time RVers, well, they're tent campers first or they're RVers first. We had never been camping in any form ever.
Oh, wow.
So
oh, my goodness.
Why not why not just sell the farm and move into one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And we're not that usually spontaneous either. But honestly, Bernie, I had this feeling like there was more for our family than the traditional life, but I never knew what that meant. I just had that feeling that I wanted more quality time together, more adventures and more travel, and more educational experiences too for our daughter. And I just always had that feeling, but I never knew really what to do with it, right?
Okay.
And we had some friends this is back in 2014. Okay, so now people know about full-time RVing with young people, working couples and families today, but not in 2014.
No, yeah, I
There,
got you.
yeah, there was no TikTok and Instagram videos showing you that this life was possible. And so a friend of mine said, hey, we decided we're going to sell our house. They had 2 little kids and we're going to
Okay.
move into an RV and travel. And I'm like, are you okay? Is your family
Are
okay?
you
Is
having a
your
midlife crisis? Should I
Yeah, like,
call somebody? Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Are you financially okay? Is your marriage okay? What is going on in your world that you're like, let's get rid of everything we know and leave? And she was like, no, I really want this experience. And I'm thinking, you have lost your mind.
Yeah, go walk on the pond over there and see if you can cross it. Yeah.
And then after talking to her for a while, I went home and I'm like, well, if she can do it, why could we not do it? And so I started kind of
Okay.
secretly researching on my own what that would look like. I didn't say anything to my husband, Scott, or anybody about it. And it kind of took over all of my thoughts at that point. I'm like, if we could make this happen, this would be the most epic life for our family. And so the next
Yeah.
thing I knew, there was a for sale sign in the yard.
Yeah. So you're out hiding in the basement, and Scott's like, "What are you doing down
Yes.
there?"
What are you working on? And there was no resources. So I literally had a couple Facebook groups is all I knew about. And I had a
Okay.
notebook and everything I had to learn how to RV from scratch, as well as how to live on the road and how to manage all that. I just was copiously taking notes in this
Okay.
notebook to try to teach myself how this could
Wow.
work. And that's all we had back then.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
But what about Sissy? She's now turning 15, but what did
Yeah.
she think about this RVing full time when you were just getting started 10 years ago? What was on
Yeah.
her mind?
So she was only 5. So 5-year-olds
Okay.
are perfect
Pliable.
because they are so excited about everything. So we got her on board because of the National Park Junior Ranger program.
All
So
right.
we lived in Kansas City, Missouri in the Midwest. So national parks were not a thing for our family. And now the St. Louis Arch is a national park, but it sure wasn't back then. So we had never, been to a national park. And so we
Yeah.
took her to a national park site and got her the vest and the hat and had her do the program and earn her first badge and take the oath of protecting our lands and stuff. And she was so gung-ho. She was like, wow,
Wow.
yes. And I said, honey, we could go all over the country and go to all these amazing parks and you could fill your vest full of badges. And it's true, she's 15, so now she's not so much into it, but she has about 150 badges from national
150
parks
badge. That's incredible. Can you
and park
imagine
sites. Yeah.
with the life experience, the absorption of information and culture and,
Mhm.
geography, uh, geology, whatever it is, all of
All of
those
it.
things.
Hmm.
Yeah, history. Oh my
Yes.
gosh, what an incredible experience for her, right?
Yeah, because Bernie, you and I, we learned about these places in a book, but to
That's
actually
right.
to go there in person, like to show up at a battlefield. I remember when we went to Gettysburg and we're experiencing it in person, and you feel that heavy feeling. It's like
Yeah.
that's nothing compared to reading about something in a book. And you will never forget that day when you stand at Gettysburg and you feel that. Like those memories will,
Hmm.
will stick forever, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's important,
Yeah.
to understand, where we've been and
Hmm.
hopefully to not create those same problems again in the future, right? So the
Yeah.
leaders of our country, if they're not historians, they really ought to be because that's
Hmm.
how you really learn and evolve as a society. So I'm sure Sissy's had a lot of great experiences, but as she's turning 15 now, and she's probably feeling like she's more like 30 and she's in charge of her life,
You
how
bet.
does she, yeah, how does she feel about the RV life now?
Oh, she's not into it at all now. It's an evolution. Teenage years are different anyway, right? So we all
Right.
know this. But now it's, oh mom, I want to be normal, right? I want to be the
Okay,
normal kid
okay.
with normal friends and in one place. And so we've kind of adapted our travel schedule to slow things down to where she can spend. Orlando's kind of our home base where she knows a lot of other families and kids and stuff. So we spend time in and out so that she can have those normal teenage experiences. And, and I'm okay with that because we've already been across the country a few different times and had those amazing memories, and we'll do it again too, but it's just kind
Yeah.
of a give and take right now for this high school season.
So you more or less use the vacation season as your travel time.
Yeah, we just kind of adapt a little bit around her, so it works. It totally does. And there's a season for everything. There's a season
Right.
for fast travel and slow travel. There's a hustle business season, and then there's an all-in travel season, and that's okay.
So this has kind of become normal for you. You still live in the solitude, right?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So this is like normal lifestyle for you to live in an RV, and
Mhm.
what has that normal life as it evolved from a household into an RV? How's that changed the way you do things day to day?
Oh my gosh. It's mind blowing. So in the house and all our years before this, we were very traditional, organized, people. And I would almost teeter on control freak for my personality. And those of you that RV know, especially if you RV on long trips, you cannot be a control freak. You cannot be a major planner because your plans, oh my gosh, they fall apart and change rapidly, right? You have to be
Yeah.
laid
Yeah. Yeah.
back and adapt on the fly. And so becoming a full-time RVer completely changed how I look at the world and my personality and everything, because you cannot be so tightly in control of things. You have to, you might have all this big itinerary and you're going to go all these places, and then you have a health issue or a mechanical issue. And well, now we're stuck in one place for a month. We only plan to be for a night, You
Yeah.
have
Or
to
your camping
embrace.
neighbor's a little weird, and you have to deal with that on the fly.
Yes.
You know.
So many unknowns, and it's a gift. In the minute it may seem like a little bit intense, but it's
Right.
a fun campfire story later.
Yeah, and here's the thing, right? RVers are generally creative problem solvers.
Mhm.
So problems do arise, whether it's in regular life, our day-to-day routines, going to work, or your car breaks down, or whatever it is. But RVers, they're involved with so many changes in their lifestyle on a day-to-day basis. They
Mhm.
need to be creative. They need to be, problem solvers. They need to be looking for the best way to work through what they've been through,
Mhm.
right?
Absolutely. And it all becomes part of your story. I mean, even the challenging parts are part of your adventure. And the times when you get
Absolutely.
stuck somewhere, you usually end up enjoying that somewhere that you didn't even plan to be. It all works out.
It's that magic that happens when you're traveling. Those
Mhm.
things that you don't plan on, and they may seem like a difficulty at first, and they become a blessing.
They do. Or you meet somebody because you hung out there you didn't plan to, and that ends up being a lifelong friendship. It's amazing how
There
these
you
things
go.
work. Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing. So I'm going to back up just a little bit because,
Mhm.
you know, as parents, people are looking at this as like, oh, wow, they took Sissy when she was young and they
Mhm.
brought her up till she was 15. And now she's going through some changes, socializing with the
Mhm.
public and all this other stuff. So, what are some of the lessons that you could share with families who might be considering something like this?
Yeah, I would say a couple things. I would say having that flexibility with your children, like what I'm mentioning as you travel, is a huge thing, because obviously we homeschool on the road as well, and that looks vastly different for different families. And
Right, right.
homeschooling in a house does too. It looks very different. But if you can have a complete flexibility with your school and your schedule, with your kids as well as yourself and your own work, it makes the experience infinitely better. If you try to schedule so tightly and keep to that, it can almost be a challenging or disappointing experience, because you have to have time for your life, and then you have to have time for your travels, and you can't have it all the time at once, or you're in burnout town really fast. So
Okay, so you're saying don't say at 8 o'clock we have to start studying history, or what, you kind of
no,
create, this is what we need to get done this week. And
whenever
however
it
you
fits
need,
in. Yeah.
wherever it fits in.
Yeah,
Okay.
in the car, like to and from, Best
Yeah.
time ever. It's time that it's focused. You're on the way to your next destination or your day trip or whatever you're doing. Do school in the car. Do school in the morning if your plans are in the afternoon. Or if you're going sightseeing in the morning, at night is when you can get work and school done. Or like for our family, we avoid the weekends like the plague because they're too busy, right? I don't want to go on a
Oh, yeah.
hiking trail with like hundreds of other people. So I go on the weekdays and we do school and work on the weekends. And so having, if you
Wow.
can, having that flexibility is it's just a freeing experience. And that's a gift of, being able to homeschool anyway for most
That's a
families.
great tip. Now think about it. You
Hmm.
do these activities during the week when it's not
Hmm.
so busy, you can get to more destinations in a more efficient manner, and then
Yep.
you have the whole weekend to crash course on 5 days worth of homework or
Yep.
whatever.
Yep. Absolutely. And just work it in wherever you can. So we made that decision early on that we were going to prioritize our traveling and then work school in secondary with it. And the reason why we made that decision is what we were just talking about, Bernie. The educational experiences we were getting from the
Yeah,
places we were visiting were mind blowing. It was well surpassing our curriculum we were trying to use. So it's like, okay, let's make this a big focus of our learning and then tie in the math and some of the other things along with it as
that's
more of
right.
a supplement. Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
getting a much more deeper insight as to the truth of that situation that you would normally just flip through a few pages and you're going to memorize a couple of dates and a couple of names and you're done,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
That's the way
Yeah.
it seemed. It was so perfunctory when I was going to school. I never
Right.
really got a chance to kind of almost live it
Hmm.
and then really feel what was going on for those people at that time. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Now she wants to be she wants to go to college in history and be a history teacher. So it's changed our family
Yeah,
a lot.
and she can be as enthusiastic about it as you are about living full-time RVing. That's
Right.
fantastic.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Wow. So let's go on to what you guys are doing now. I mean, you were on the road for about 8 years before you got going on this, but could you share with us like how the name the Adventure Detour came about?
Yeah. So I had started blogging our adventures kind of on a personal level so that our daughter could remember them because at, 6 years old, I wish she could remember everything, but we all know it's not going to happen. So I had started writing just mainly for our family and our friends to kind of see what our adventures were like and kind of create a timepiece for her. But
Yeah,
that
kind of
started,
journaling it, right?
yeah, kind of like a journal. But then that kind of transformed into sharing it publicly and trying to help people with their journey. And so as I was thinking for a name, I'm like, we took a life detour completely for adventure, right? We
Oh,
let go of all
wow.
the old living and it was our family's adventure detour. And so I thought that was the perfect name for changing our entire life.
That's wonderful because you think about it like our life as being a line that you're following down and you're trying to do this and save money and do whatever. But you guys at a certain age just said, we're taking a hard left. We're
Complete
getting off
opposite.
the road.
Yeah.
We're
Complete
going
opposite.
off-roading
Yeah.
in our
I mean,
life.
it's so nutty. Like, we had just built what I called our dream home, right?
Oh,
So we had this really beautiful suburb house. It's all, decked to the nines, perfect.
yeah,
And
the
we
green
literally
blonde.
dumped it all, every down to the curtains and the rugs. I mean, everything was gone. And it's just like, I don't miss any of it. Isn't that weird?
That's phenomenal because you got so much more coming into your life.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, you got the four walls, but there's a limitation there, right? You
Right.
see the same pieces of furniture, the same pieces of things hanging on the walls. But when you're living in an RV, your environment is constantly changing and you
Hmm.
get so much more fulfillment out of all the experiences you're having. Not just like, yeah, thanks, honey. You made a good dinner tonight, and we're going to watch this show that we always watch and blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much more to it.
Yes, it's so freeing. And I think that was what was calling to me, but I didn't understand it. It was the pursuit of gaining more possessions, but it never made me feel fulfilled. This was the opposite. This was literally dumping everything and gaining experiences. And I mean, no one lives at the end of their life on their deathbed and says, I wish I had a bigger house and more cars. They say, I wish I had more time with my loved ones and more travel and more experiences together. And that's why I said, why wait until we're older or retired, we may never get to retirement. That's a harsh reality for a lot of people. Or we may get there and we may not be in the health that we could both do this, you know? And so Scott's parents both died before retirement, and it was crushing to watch that happen. And I've seen it happen time and time again with other people. It's a reality check that our later years are not guaranteed, you know? And so, and we don't have our kids with us. So that's why I kind of wanted to do it as a family, so we'd have that bonding time together.
Yeah, those times, you know, you don't realize how great that's going to be for Sissy when she's getting older. She's having families, and she's going to understand the true value of what you folks have done. And she may be, she may be coming out of it a little bit right now. Don't you worry. RVer camping families camp together. They stay together. And they're going to continue to perpetuate that whole feeling of family. So that's wonderful. So on your website, I'm going to get on the website right now. I want you to kind of go over it with me a little bit and talk to me about, you know, the mission of the site and what some of the features and offerings that you have there.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're the adventuredetour.com. And we have some of our favorite destinations under the destinations tab. So a lot of times it's overwhelming as an RVer, like where the heck to go. Our country's so vast.
The Vermont, New Hampshire one?
Yeah.
Oh, let's do that. Because I'm familiar with this area. And 11 fun family things to do in the White Mountains of New Hampshire. Let's take a look. Oh,
man. I love that area. It's like the perfect summer destination.
Yeah, so that's beautiful. The Cog Railroad, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
highly recommend that.
If you haven't been up there to Mount Washington in the Cog Railroad, folks, you gotta go. Yes. What an interesting trip. My wife and I went there one time. It was kind of fall. It might have been like late September, early October. But as you're going up the hill, it was already frozen up there.
Oh, gosh.
and it was so strange because because of the wind, the icicles were going sideways off the trees, and the trees, because of the angle, looked like they were leaning down, but they were actually vertical, perpendicular to sea level. So it was the strangest experience, but I just thought it was fascinating from that perspective. And look at that beautiful picture. Oh my God. Did you take that picture?
Yeah. That train ride is very special. It's very steep. On the way down, it's a little nerve-wracking, especially if you have a height issue, but it's the first cog railroad in the whole world. The guy that invented the cog railroad was this guy. And a cog, if you don't know what it is a very steep railroad designed to go up a mountain. And it's basically a gear system with teeth that it can grip the track and pull at a really steep incline to get you over the mountain. And that's where it was invented, which was really cool. So it's a special trip for sure.
Oh, that's lovely. And I can understand that. I'm a little bit afraid of heights too. Going up was a lot easier. Oh my gosh. That must be from the observatory, right?
Yeah, that's at the top of Mount Washington, and it's often not clear. It's often very cloud covered and foggy, but we got a really good day. It can be really cold up there, even if it's warm at the base. So yeah. And actually, a lot of people don't know it's the windiest place in the whole world, the top of Mount Washington.
Oh, yeah. And it gets the coldest temperatures in the world as well.
It's shocking because you think New Hampshire, you would think, no, it would be like in the Himalayas. It's not. It's actually in New Hampshire. The windiest place in the world is recorded at the top of Mount Washington, which is mind blowing.
Yeah. Absolutely crazy. And
it's beautiful.
I think it's Franconia Notch, that covered bridge. New Hampshire has several covered bridges, one of which I go to in Jackson, which is just delightful, New Hampshire, which is just a little bit above North Conway. But that is
stunning.
Just quintessential New England right there.
Yeah, this state park could probably be a national park. Franconia Notch is epic in so many ways. The hiking, the waterfalls in a gorge, and they also have a gondola that takes you up the mountain as part of the state park up to the top. It's a ski area in the winter. There it is. Yeah, it's a ski area in the winter, but in the summer, it looks like Switzerland or something here, doesn't it? Yeah, and it's just really Sound of Music, but it's really New Hampshire. It's shocking.
Yeah. And what is this one? Oh, that's
That's
another
from up
shot from
there.
Cannon Mountain. Yeah.
It's
Oh,
so
and
pretty. It
oh yeah,
snows up
Bodie Miller.
there.
Yeah, one of
Yeah.
our
Oh
favorite
yeah, Bodie
athletes in New
Miller.
Hampshire.
Yeah,
Look
Bodie
at those
Miller's from
photos.
there, and his Olympic medals are there, which are amazing to see.
Yeah, fantastic. And I'm not sure about what that one is, but I know
Yeah.
this place. I know this
Yeah.
place, Echo Lake. Um,
Yes.
it's at the
Gorgeous.
base of Cannon Mountain.
Hmm.
And if you're on one, is like a trail that goes around it, which is a nice little trail. You can get around the whole thing real easily. Probably takes like maybe an hour at the most. And if you do the hello, 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 it does echo over
How
there.
fun! I bet because it's surrounded by mountains. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We'll have to
And
do that next time.
yeah, Santa's Village with the reindeer and all that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's a
Isn't that
child
she's feeding
Christmas amusement.
reindeer? That's
Yeah, that's
amazing.
epic. Reindeer in person are wow. They're so soft and their antlers are so furry. That was
Yeah,
the
yeah.
coolest thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, well, I just love this. I'm going to get back onto the show here, but
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
what an amazing trip to New Hampshire that you guys had. And
Yeah.
you share all of that across your website, right? And what are
Yeah.
some of the other great features that you share on the website?
So the website's a mixture of destinations and RV tips and RV living. And so there's a full-time RV section, and that's probably where I put most of my time. And it's designed to kind of be the resource I wish we had to try to learn both the good and the bad parts of challenges of full-time RVing, but it's a lot of
Yeah.
helpful information to get started there. And then
And a
we
lot
have
of that
social media as well.
yeah, so a lot of that's free information, right? And
It's
what are
all
they
free.
signed up?
The whole thing is free.
Wow, so generous. That's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
generous of you.
Yeah, and then there's a freebies tab as well, and under there is kind of a guide where I spill all of my secret hacks, Bernie, on
Wow.
how to reserve campsites even when they're sold out. Because to me, the biggest challenge in camping right now, whether you're a weekender or a full timer, is that the top campsites are like in state parks and national parks are always sold out. So we have some
Right.
hacks there that are free for you.
That's good because the secret is that a lot of people book sites and then don't show up.
Isn't that
But
sad? That is just,
that is so
it
sad,
hurts my
especially in the
heart.
places like that. Oh yeah. It's
Oh,
not fair, right? If you're not
no.
gonna go, do the diligence and go and cancel that site,
Yes, please, because people are pining for it. Yes.
Exactly. And the sites are going unused. Yeah.
And they're hard to get anyway. So it's like, oh, please just cancel. And plus you get your money back when you cancel. I don't know why people don't cancel.
So make sure you get on the adventuredetour.com website so you can find out how to get those sites.
Yes. Snag them.
She's telling
Enjoy
you the
them.
secrets.
Yes.
Just go there.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. So
Yeah.
so listen, I'm going to ask you this.
Yeah.
So I can see your personality, right? But what do you think is really important for RVers who are thinking about doing this, or if you're not an RVer and you're going to just jump on the beach and walk on water?
Yes.
What are some of the important personality traits that are going to help people be better, successful full-time RVers?
Yeah. So the number one, and we hinted on this a little bit before, is flexibility. You have to be, things are not perfect with RVing. And that's whether you're a weekend tripper or a full time RVer. Stuff breaks, you have changes in your routes, and there's natural disasters that happen, and all of it. So you just really need to have a flexible mindset. It just helps to know in advance, budget in advance that you're going to have repairs, that you're going to have change of plans, that you may not get to stay at the campground you plan. You might have to stay at one a little more expensive. Things happen on the road. And so I would just say have a buffer, both emotionally and financially, for that to happen. And you will enjoy your experience so much more. Embrace it
Do you
all.
have any do you have any interesting black tank stories?
Oh, yes. Okay. So you know this, Bernie, and most of your listeners do too. I know it because the black tank is like the rough initiation of RVing. It just is. And actually, I think it's funny because we've talked to a lot of people that refuse to use their bathroom in their RV. And I think that's like
Because they're afraid
crazy.
of what might go wrong, right?
Yes, or they will say we will not number two in our RV, and I'm like, that's the whole joy of having your house on wheels with you is that you can stop and use the bathroom when wherever you are. You don't have
And
to
you
use
know who
gross
was in there
bathrooms.
last. Like,
Yes, it's yours. Or your families, right? And you
yeah,
have to
I
cook
got
with
you.
your families too. But okay. So yeah, everyone has that initiation story. Ours, the craziest one that we've had is actually our neighbor that we watched happen. And they had a rental RV. So they were new. And everybody is new at some
And
point.
they
We
probably
were
didn't get instructed properly.
probably not. We were those new people too. So I understand. They overfilled their black tank with the hose while trying to flush it.
Oh, they
And
forgot to leave the valve open.
a lot of people will flush with it closed. And if you're going to do that, you have to really pay attention to how much water is going in and know when you're getting too close to being full. They didn't know this. And so a lot of people don't realize there's a black tank vent on your roof. And if
Oh,
you overflow your black tank, it can come up your toilet on the inside, but can also shoot out the roof of your RV. And we
like
were
Old
sitting,
Faithful.
Old
My
Faithful
goodness.
of poo will happen on your roof. And we were sitting in a camp chair and we watched poo shooting out of our neighbor's roof.
All right. So, folks, if you're listening, do not close your black tank valve when using your water, your black tank
Right.
flush.
Right.
Is
Or
it?
have a gauge. The other option is if you feel like you have to have it closed, which we don't rinse ours closed. We've always done it open. And for 9
Yeah.
years of full time living, we haven't
There's
had a
no
problem.
reason.
Yeah. But if you feel, because some people feel like you have to have it closed to get the wash extra good, you need a gauge to know how many gallons your tank holds and how many you're putting in and not get to that full
Or
point.
someone in the bathroom holding that sensor on so you can see exactly where it is. Once you
Mm-hmm.
get to 2/3, stop, please stop.
Stop.
Don't even think about
It's
it.
not worth it.
Yeah, it's not worth the pain. Yeah. All right.
No.
So I appreciate
Crazy.
that story. And, and the craziest things happen. Tell us a little bit about your writing. And you
Yeah.
do some writing for brand partners and that. So let us know a little bit about where to see you in your stories.
Yeah, so we are a mixed bag on our business end. We are writers for not just our website, but other RV websites and blogs. And we also write for different RV magazines. So that's kind of our writing end, both on the industry side and on the consumer side. So, like, we write for RV Pro is our main magazine that we write for, that on the industry side. So we do some technical
Very
writing
nice.
and some helpful travel writing on the writing end. And then on the social media end, we work with brands to promote them on social media on our channels, but sometimes we also create social media ads and different resources that they can use for their channels. So we are creators on the social media side too. So, and now we've started working with RV Today television. So we're on TV creating some television episodes too. So we're
Excellent.
all over the place with our content at this time.
Wow. Can I show a little something that you did on RVing today just a little
Yeah.
while ago?
Sure,
Um,
sure. This is our very first episode for them.
all right, here you go.
Have you ever wondered what it's like a brand new puppy while you're traveling in an RV? Well, in this episode, you're about to find out. One thing that we said we would never ever do as full time RVers of 9 years is get a pet while we were traveling. And you may wonder why not? Pets are amazing, right? It's just because we didn't want it to limit our ability to travel, to go on the fly, to leave the RV and stay in a hotel if we wanted, to hop on a plane and go home and visit. Pets are a big responsibility. And so we just really didn't want to add that to the mix. And we always said we would never do it. But obviously we did. So how did that happen? Our daughter was piling over getting a puppy. She begged and begged and begged. And despite saying no for years and years, I saw this guy's photo online and knew I had to have him. So I said, let's get a small RV dog, right? A little RV dog. So how about a French bulldog, right? They get maybe 25, 28 pounds. Perfect size for an RV. Well, yeah. So we go get him. He's probably the biggest record breaking French bulldog ever. He's almost 40 pounds. And they said, get a long haired Frenchie. They're rare and really beautiful, they say, right? Just kidding. I don't know who said that. I don't even know who they is. But we did get the long haired version, and wow, he sheds like crazy. But you know what? through all of it, he is the perfect dog for our family. He's not a laid back couch potato like we thought. He's not small like we thought. He's not non-shedding like we thought, but he's absolutely perfect for us. Isn't it funny how sometimes you think one thing and life completely flips it the other?
Yeah. Isn't
See,
that
you go with
amazing?
the flow, right? It's all about going with the flow.
Absolutely. Like you said, yeah, things happen and they could seem like a challenge, but they end up being a blessing,
A huge
And
blessing. Yeah, that you didn't know you needed.
exactly. Oliver is a gorgeous animal, and I know he's hanging by close by to you right now too, right?
Yeah, he's on my foot. I'm sitting at the table, which is always where I work. Well, it's everything.
Right.
It's homeschool, it's work, it's crafts, it's food. And so if I'm sitting here, he's always on my feet.
That's wonderful. He likes his mama, so
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
tell us a little bit more about your websites, your videos, your free stuff, the web, so people can get a hold of you. They can email you inside that website as well, correct?
Oh, absolutely. You can also find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and a little bit on YouTube. We're not on YouTube as much, but any of those places you can, Instagram's our main one, and you can send us a message there. But we try to create a mix of funny, real type of content, entertainment, and then also helpful tips on our social media as well as the blogs. So that's a kind of another resource to help people out.
All right. The Adventure Detour. Find
Yep.
them on all the major social media and, of course, adventuredetour.com. Thank you so much for being on
Thank
the
you,
show today. It was an
Bernie.
absolute delight to have you here.
It was a blast. I really appreciate you having me.
All right. And you can see her on RVing Today TV.
Ready to buy or sell your RV? Visit RV Wheelager. If you're selling, we guarantee you a buyer at your agreed upon price. If you're buying, we'll help you find the RV of your dreams and introduce you directly to the owner. RV Wheelager, where your adventure begins.
And if you want to find the latest episode of RV Game Changer, make sure you go to rvtoday.tv, where you find our latest episode along with a lot of great information, tips and tricks, and videos of RVing Today TV. If you want to get a hold of me, go to RV Game Changer on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, and make sure to subscribe. Have a wonderful week, and God bless.